So I got a really great question the other day. Someone asked what kinds of seed trays I use and why I use so many different varieties. So today I'm going to walk you around the greenhouse and show you what I'm using and why. I use a lot of different things. Some of them are just things I happen to have, but others I use for very specific reasons with very specific plants. And I will drop all of my sources down in the description below, so you have links to everything. Some of them are affiliate links, and for that I thank you. But this is a kind of guide to all the stuff I use. Let me be clear though. Gardening does not have to mean shopping. I often reuse things that, when I've purchased plants, for example, I reuse those pots. I try to reuse as much as I possibly can. And that's really important to me because there is a lot of plastic production and a lot of plastic consumption in the gardening trade that is unnecessary, unsustainable. So the best plastic product to use is the one that already exists that you already have. And there are lots of other ways to garden in lots of different situations. So here are the products that I use, and there's some specific reasons for why I use certain products the way I do. So the first thing I want to talk about is seed blocking. And I have two different types of seed blockers. This is kind of the more traditional version. You load it up with soil, punch it down, and you get 5 little cubes. This one is a little different. This one is made by Fiskars, and you get 4 in a circle. And these are actually a lot bigger and a lot deeper than these are. Now, I don't have any soil blocking going on right now, but I do use soil blockers, and especially for things that are going to germinate really quickly and that I will be planting out relatively soon. For example, if I'm going to start some zinnias in the greenhouse, which I will probably do this week, I will use soil blocks because I'll be able to plant them out in 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks. I'm not going to have to maintain them all that long. And I'll probably use this because those soil blocks are slightly bigger, and that means they hold a little bit more moisture. They don't dry out quite as quickly, and then I'll be able to plant them out relatively soon. So if we're looking in this corner, you'll see I have a range of things started in different types of trays. So this is the 6-block cell from Epic Gardening, and I really like these. They have little humidity domes that come with them, and I'll show you. I have here's some seeds on the tray with the humidity dome. And one of the things I like about this is that, so this is also Epic Gardening's light setup, and there's a heat mat underneath, and everything is on the same module. So I can get 12 6-block trays into this tray on one heat mat under the lamp. That is all really good. These are really sturdy trays too. They're well made. I'm assuming they are going to last a really long time, which is great. And I've been very, very happy with it. The one thing I will say about them is that they're a little bit small. And so the potting up for things like tomatoes and that kind of thing, you have to have something so that you can pot things on. And here I've done that with some tomatoes and some flowers, and there's some cucumbers up here. And here I have potted up these cucumbers. So this is a different system. This is a system by Naked Root, and this is actually their second size. So they have a tray that you can plant things into, which I have done. It also comes with a bottom watering tray and a humidity dome. And then when you pot things up, they go into this size. And then they actually have even bigger pots that you can pot things up into too, which is really cool. I'm going to pull this down so you can see. So this pot is actually 2 pieces, and it is a root pruner. So you actually put the water in the bottom here, and I have some water I'll show you. And this has little all-purpose tomato feed in it. And then you put this in, and the moisture wicks up into the soil, but it's also air pruning the roots. So this is a really great solution for, especially for tomatoes and cucumbers, things that are going to need to be potted up and maintained in your greenhouse for a while. So because in Colorado, I have to start my tomatoes and cucumbers really early, and they have to live in the greenhouse for a long time, this is actually a really nice solution because I have these graduations and can pot up that way. I also use terracotta pots, and I have a bunch of these little ones. These are also great for potting up in, and you could start seeds in these, but I don't. To conserve space, I started all of these seeds in 6-cell trays or in the naked root trays, and then potted up as they went. Another system that I have, these are silicone, and they're called the Sili-Seedlings, and silicone is squishy. And I bought these specifically because they are deeper, which is really great for certain plants, especially things like sweet peas that have deeper roots. I also have a suspicion that for those of you who maybe have arthritis or other dexterity issues, that these might be a really good solution for you because you can squeeze and pop things out maybe a little bit easily. These stack very nicely. You can nest them all together when you're storing them, and they have my very favorite watering tray. Ironically, it's not in that tray right now, but this is a stainless steel, basically a baking sheet, and that they sit in. It is so sturdy, and it holds a lot of water. So I had seedlings started in here, left on vacation for 10 days, filled this up, came back, and they were all fine, which I was shocked by. So I really like these stainless steel trays. I only have one, and I only have one set of the Sili-Seedlings right now, but this is a really nice solution as well. Then there are some more kind of DIY solutions. So over here, you can see I have sweet peas, and I've started them in toilet paper tubes. And I'm going to tell you, I will never grow sweet peas any other way ever again. These are fantastic, and of course they're free. I saved toilet paper tubes for a couple of months with our family, and then I have just potted them up in here. So this is called a Rootrainer, and I am not a fan. I mean, my sweet peas are doing just fine, but this is the tray that it goes in, and then there's this rack, and then these cells kind of slide in. And the whole point is to be able to get a nice deep root run, which you can. I mean, that's deeper than the toilet paper tube by maybe ½ inch, but this is really flimsy plastic. I mean, I think you could use it for more than one season, but it's gonna fall apart, especially at altitude where I am. It's just not gonna last. And then these pop open like this, and you can pull each individual plant out. I think it's hard to water. I think things end up sitting in too much water sometimes because it's hard to drain the water off. I find this really cumbersome. So I only bought one to see how I liked it, and I'll use it until it wears out, but I am not a fan. The toilet paper tubes are much, much more successful, in my opinion. So this is a raspberry box, and I punched a couple holes in the bottom so that it would bottom feed. And then I put onion seeds in here. These are onion sprouts, and it has done a fantastic job. I closed the lid until everything had germinated. Then I just trimmed the lid off, and now everything's growing very well in there. So that is another very easy, economical solution, and another thing that I am going to start saving so that I have a few of those on hand at all times. So I use different things in different ways. I keep these little pots for cuttings. I keep them for potting things on. I keep toilet paper tubes for certain plants that are going to have a longer root run. I like the Sili-Seedlings. I like the Epic Gardening kits. All of them have a place and a purpose, and all of them work well in different ways. So now let's talk about trays. So I have a variety of different trays. These are the Epic Gardening trays. I like these a lot. They're a nice depth for bottom watering, and they're pretty sturdy. And I have a couple that I've drilled holes through that I'm going to use to start big clumps of seedlings. I'll probably do that next week. So those are pretty great. I'm excited about those. Like I said before, I really love this stainless steel tray. This is the Sili-Seedlings tray, and that is a big fave for sure. I also have these fiberglass baker's trays. These are actually, I think they're called donut trays. And I bought them because they fit perfectly on these shelves. I like them, but they are not very deep, so they don't hold a lot of water. I use them to put plants under, to put under plants like up here, so that I can bottom water a little bit, but mostly I use those for when I am doing soil blocking, and I put the soil blocks on there, and then they work pretty well for that. They're not as deep as I wish they were, but they fit really nicely. The Epic trays hang over by a couple of inches, which makes me just a little bit nervous that I'm gonna knock it off at some point. So thanks for the great question. And if you have other questions or comments, please drop them below. I am happy to answer them. There are links to a lot of these products in the caption below, so be sure to read that. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And happy gardening.